Hi everybody, I hope you guys are doing good. So today I'm going to be showing you how I created the dress I used for my thumbnail, the monostrap dress, and of course the sewing process. But I wanted to create like a miniature tutorial, but you're going to be using your measurements. So let's just get started. So the first thing I did was, of course, when you get your pattern, your paper, you're going to want to create a block like this. What I did was use the biggest part of my measurement, widest part of my body, which was my hips. I divided that by 2. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. And then I created a 20 inches box and divided that into 2. Again, remember, when you're taking your measurement and trying to put it onto paper, you have to divide it by 4 to get a quarter of your measurement. So after I did that, I divided it into 2. So I have 10 here and I have 10 here, which is 1/4 of my measurement, which is 10 inches. So the first thing I did is, this is the shoulder line, right? And when you're starting, you're going to have to put in your neck width and your neck depth. So there's a standard, which is 3 by 3, which I already drew here with my pencil. I went in with my pencil, 3 inches by 3 inches, and I'm just going to go in with my marker and my ruler so you can see what I did properly. Yeah, and then of course your shoulder is not straight, you have to slant it down by 1 inch for both the front and the back. So this is the front unfold. Good. And for the back, I went down by 1 inch, and of course the width by 3 inches, because it has to align with the front. So I'm going to go ahead and do that so you can see it clearly. And of course the shoulder slant 1 inch. The easiest way to get your armhole measurement is to divide your bust by 6 and add 1.75. So for mine, when I divided my bust by 6 and added 1.75, it gave me 7 inches. Remember, we're working with a mini paper, so it's not like my full scale dress bodice. So you have to calculate yours and put that here. So when I did that, I made sure that the distance from here, from my shoulder, was the same on my chest line. I'm going to label, this is my chest line, this is my waist, and this is my hips. And the length of the dress, of course. So on my chest line, I made sure that the distance from here to here, which is my shoulder measurement, was the same here on my chest line. And of course, I went down by 1 inch, found the midpoint here, and then I went in by 3/4 for the front and 1/2 inch for the back. So I'm going to go in with my marker so you see what I have here. For the front, I went in by 3/4, and for the back, I went in by 1/2 inch. Yeah, remember, on your chest line is where you put in your bust measurement divided by 4. So the next thing we're going to do is the waist. Because we're working with a stretch fabric, we're not going to be putting dots or anything. It's just going to be fast and, straight to the point. So for my waist, I'm going to divide my waist by 4. So if your waist is 32, you divide it by 4, you're going to get 8. If it's 40 by 4, you're going to get 10. Whatever it is, divide it by 4. So I already divided mine by 4 and I put it in here. And then I'm going to connect it from the chest line to the waistline. So this is the waistline. Now, for you to get your hips, if you're an average height, it would be from your waist to your hip would be like 7 inches. If you're tall, 5'11", 6, it would be 9. So, but always measure, guys. Always measure. So if I'm gonna come down here, because it's really not a big paper, I'm just trying to give you an idea of how I created it. I just came down here by 7 inches. But guys, measure from your waist to your hip. And I'm going to connect that. Remember, when we created the block, it was 1/4 of our measurement. And there's no sewing allowance here. There's no sewing allowance. So this is your chest line, this is your waistline, and this is your hip. Of course, the length of the dress. I'm going to go in here and just make these lines visible. Here. Okay, so this is the front, and then the back is just the same thing. You're going to measure your waist divided by 4, and you're going to put it in here. I usually do not add allowance on my basic block. I do it on my fabric, but if it's going to be easier for you, sure, put it in there. It just makes it easier for me. If I want to kind of trace it again, I use it for something else. Yeah, so I did the same thing, my waist divided by 4, and I put it in, and I'm going to connect it from the armhole here. And of course, the same thing with my hips. I did the same thing, divided by 4, and I'm going to connect it here to this line. And then this is the front, and this is the back. Because I used the stretch fabric, guys, I didn't add a zipper allowance. But usually what I do is, because it stretches, because I want the back to kind of lay really flat, I go in by 1/2 inch or 1 inch, depending on how depending on how the fabric stretches. And then from the armhole here, I just connect it this way to that 1/2 inch. This will eliminate the bulging at the back and connect it to the hip. This is what I do. So I'm going to cut it out right now, and then I'm going to show you guys how it looks like. Yeah, so this is how it looks. Yay, this is our mini dress bodice pattern. So this is what I did. I'm going to show you on my fabric what I did. I just wanted to show you how to create yours. So when I did, mine wasn't splitted, it was on fold. So what you're going to do is, of course, when you cut in the back, make sure it's on fold, or you can just tape it down. Yeah, so what I did was place it right sides together, facing this way. Guys, make sure everything aligns. Just make sure everything aligns. Okay, fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to decide where you want the monostrap to be, if it's on the left or on the right. So what you're going to do is from the tip of your shoulder here, remember we have this line here. It depends on how deep you want it. I always feel that when it's not too low, it's very classy, you know, and bougie, but depends on you. So what I did for mine was from the tip here, I just connected it from here because the shoulders have to align. I'm going to go in with my pencil, and then from here to my armhole, to where my armhole stops, and I kind of just play around with this till I get what I want, and I'm gonna cut it out. I'm just gonna cut this out here so that the front and the back are the same. So guys, when you're done, this is how it should look like. Everything has to align, the front and the back. Everything has to align, the front and the back. So this is the back, and then this is the front. So I'm gonna be showing you that on my fabric.